Hey everybody, welcome back to 3 Generations Restoration. You can see behind me we got ourselves a 1935 McCormick Deering W30. This was the picture for the video that was at the abandoned farmstead. This was sitting in like a little bit of a bush, and we're going to be doing some work on it today. We have gotten this tractor running. It runs a little rough, and I have determined that it's the carburetor just because sediment bowl had a lot of garbage in it and probably was sent to the carburetor on our first startup, which happens sometimes. So, but we got a few other things that we're going to be doing. Obviously we got the carburetor. I have to reseal these 2 inspection ports. I have to I gotta redo the valve cover. I put it on kind of in a hurry to see if we could get this thing started. So I'll redo that. And then I have to redo the plug we put in on for the radiator. And then this thing should be good to go. Obviously, I'll fill up the tires and do all that stuff. But I think the first step we're gonna do is the carburetor. We're gonna get the carburetor off. Once we get it off, I'll have a better view of this inspection port here. I'll do those while the carb's off, put those back on, then we'll put the carb back on. So let's go ahead, let's get this carb off and let's get started. So, as you can see, this is a Zenith carburetor. Here's the carburetor kit. There's the part number in case you are wanting to rebuild one yourself. What I'm going to start with on this carburetor is I'm going to get this breather hose off right here. And then I'm probably going to get the fuel hose disconnected, get the choke rods disconnected, and then we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to get the cotter pins out for the choke assembly, which usually is a pain in the ass. Wow, that one came out nice. So there's that one. All right, there's the other cotter key. I'm gonna get a bin. All right, so we got both choke shafts are disconnected now from the carburetor. The next order of business is to get the fuel line disconnected. So I'm gonna shut the gas off, which it should already be off. Yep. And now I'm gonna take some pliers and we're gonna disconnect this fuel line here. Just like that. I'll set that aside. And now we're gonna go ahead and take off our intake. Just a regular screwdriver for this. We're gonna probably have to go all the way out with these just to get the hose clamps off and out of the way. So I'll go ahead and get these off. Okay, so we got the 2 hose clamps disconnected off the carburetor down here. And as you can see, this looks like it was already cut before. So we'll just get it out of the way. We will go ahead now and we're gonna take off the 3 screws that hold the throttle shaft together. This controls the throttle of the engine from the operator's platform. All it is 3 regular screws. So we'll go ahead and get these out. And it does look like there is a gasket underneath this little triangular surface here. And I believe that we got it with our kit. If not, I can always make one. These aren't too hard to make. There's the second one. So the main problem with this carburetor was it would like overfuel itself, kind of. And then it would kind of leak out of that hose that you saw I just took off. I got a feeling that something's either plugged or something's got, maybe the float is stuck or maybe the needles wore. So we'll have to figure it out by opening it up, so kind of way. All right, now I'm gonna show you guys right here, but there's two 7/16 bolts holding on the governor shaft that controls the throttle shaft. I'm gonna take those off, but I'm gonna set you guys back here again, so you guys can kind of see what I'm hopefully doing here. Two 7/16 bolts. There's another gasket behind this one. This is just like, you know, like a Farmall M-esque throttle shaft gasket. This is just the original style. This engine was made a couple years before the famous Farmall M and H engines that have the throttle shaft with the notch to the carburetors. All right. So now that we got the governor shaft, throttle shaft disconnected, we are going to go ahead and take off the carburetor from the tractor. And by the looks of it, it is a half inch, oh no, 9/16. So it's gonna be a 9/16 nut and bolt. So what I'll do is I'll take this side off first. If this is a 9/16, I better be. Yeah. All right, so I gotta hold this, loosen this. Whoop, sorry guys. Just like that. This bad boy should come right off. Usually with tractors like this, obviously we found this one in the weeds. I kind of figure that, you know, these aren't gonna start and run fine. You kind of always want to check your valves, which we did on this. That's kind of why I got to redo the valve cover, because when I took it off, I kind of just slapped it on just so we could hear it. But the carburetor, usually when they sit for a pretty long time, even if they have gas or if they don't have gas in them, they tend to tarnish up. And tarnished gas and little brass fittings tend to not mix with each other well. So this one's out. If I can get this completely out, it would be great. Because I might put a different bolt in there. Get rid of this fine threaded garbage. Just as got a lot of rust in here. I'm actually surprised that this tractor ran with this carburetor being so dirty. There we go. All right, so that's off. We got one more bolt on the back to get. Does look like it's a 9/16, and I'm probably, oh no, look at that. Thought I was gonna have to get the special wrench out. Nope, she is coming out. All right, this one's gonna be a long-winded bolt, so I'll catch you guys back when I got it out. All right, so as you guys saw before, I got the nut off, and then all I did here was I slid out this shaft here, which only in turn goes one way and controls this throttle shaft here. So that stays where it is, and then this kind of stays where it is as well. It only lines up one way and it only contacts one way. So hopefully now this comes off. And I may have to get out the old rubber mallet. There it goes. Slide right out, kind of just like that, and there it is. Carburetor is off the tractor. So we'll keep the gaskets, just, you know, so we keep them, and then we will rebuild this bad boy. All right, so here's the carburetor on the table. The inside doesn't look too bad. What we are going to start out with is we're probably going to want to get this bottom part off first, and then we will get the top assembly off. I'll get this thing off. We'll probably have to re-copper washer this. No big deal. So let's go ahead and get this bottom part off. It looks like a nut has already, or a bolt has been broke off right here already, so hopefully that doesn't bother us. So looks like a couple 7/16 bolts right there. Yep, 7/16. So go ahead and get these off. Get this bottom assembly out of the way, the choke assembly, if you would call it that. Like I said, there's only 3 bolts holding it on just because one was broke. I'll try to get it off. Maybe it will come off. We'll see. It does look like this carburetor was taken apart at one time, not by us, but maybe by the guy who owned it. He said he had this engine rebuilt, so I don't know if he had messed around at all with the carb. Alright, so the bottom piece should come right off, just like that. Here's a look at it. Pretty self-explanatory. There's a new gasket we got, so this is new cleaned up. Set that to the side. Now here's kind of a look inside. You can see there's the Venturi in there, the gray part. There is the main fuel needle, and then all the way up top you got your throttle shaft. The next step is going to be to separate this whole assembly here. So I think the first thing we'll do is get this the fuel inlet off. I think what I might do is just take this off here, leave this on until I can get this whole thing separated. So this looks like a 5/8, nope, 11. This is an 11/16. Oh. There it goes. We'll get this out of the way, and then I should be able to access this one bolt to get it out. Alright, so there's that. Get this out of the way. Alright, now we do have to take this off. So I'm going to get an impact probably and just impact this off. Be way easier. 3/4. All right, let's see if the impact will take this off. Yes, sir. So that's out of the way. We're gonna have to, like I said, re-gasket it. I believe the kit comes with some new gaskets, but I think we have found our issue, guys. Look in there. I'm seeing a lot of rust. So that kind of furthers our in-depth review of this carb, that we're gonna really need to take it apart. Next, we're gonna be needing a 1/2-inch wrench. We're gonna take these bolts off here. And I always like to take bins and kind of just put stuff where it used to be and make sure it's gonna all go back where it used to go. And by the looks of this carburetor, it was an Alice Chalmers carburetor. These fit many different tractors. I am gonna get an impact for that. Literally sitting right next to us is another video you guys will be seeing. Alice Chalmers UC, and has the same exact carburetor, just a little bit different of a setup. So like these fit a lot of different tractors. So we'll get all these out. Okay, so this should split just like so. Be careful, because you will have the float inside. Float is a big giant brass piece, and we'll flip this over. So as you can see, you got a little nozzle here, you got your float here, and your needle, which is very wore out by the looks of it. You got the main fuel nozzle here, got some kind of tarnished gas in the bowl. So we got a lot of stuff to take apart, clean, make sure it's all working. I'm gonna get 2 more bins, and then we are probably gonna start with the bottom and then work our way to the top. That way we have a little bit of an order. So I'm gonna grab a few bins and I'll be right back. Okay, so down in the bore there is a little, kind of a little needle jet thing right there that I'm taking out currently. I loosened it up just because it makes it easier to show you guys. There's a little bit better view of me taking it out. So we got this little jet out. We'll clean this, put it back in. I forgot my bin. Okay, so believe it or not, I got this drain. It's just this is just a little drain here, and I got it out with a 1/2-inch impact right there. As you can see, we got some other projects going on. Got my little carb bench here. I'm gonna leave this in here. This is just a little plug. The only really other thing left is this. I'm gonna make sure that this is gonna stay in the same spot. So I'll show you what we'll do here. So we're gonna screw this in, see how many turns it goes in. So we got 1/2, 1, 1/2, 2, 2/2, 2.5 turns. So we're gonna take this all the way out now. This should just be like a nozzle of some sort, I believe. Not too positive though. It's been a while since I've done one of these carburetors. It's coming though. Yep, there's our fuel nozzle. So we'll put that away. Now we're gonna take this little 7/16. This probably have to come off with an impact, but you never know. No sir. Take this off. just like so. And just like in there, looks pretty clean. I think probably 13. Yeah. Wow, it came loose. Perfect. Might as well re-gasket everything while we're here. So there's this part, and then there's another jet inside of there that I will attempt to take off. There it is. Old Trusty got her loose. So we'll loosen this out. And there it is. This medium part is completely apart. Here's the little jet I took out. We'll clean that up. This will just have to blow out with ether. Like I said, we're leaving that in for now. There's no point in me taking it off since I can see it down there. All it is just like a drain. So this part here is done. So set that aside. Now we got the top. This is the part with the float. As you can see, here's the float. So we're gonna work on getting the float taken off. This gasket's shot. I have a new one, so take all this off. The Venturi should also come up, but the first thing I think we should work on is getting this float out. What I'm gonna do is get a little punch and I'm gonna tap on this, get it loose. Hopefully. All right, so here's my little punch, just barely fits in the bore, that's why we have it. Give it a little tappy tap. Yep, there she goes. So we'll slide out the float shaft very easily. We'll have to clean this up and really work it back and forth, but it seems as though it's a little stuck still here. Just keep working it out slowly, and just like that, it is out. So here's the float shaft. Set that in our next bin. Take our float out. We'll check this for holes. It doesn't look too bad. And then here's our needle. Needle looks decent. Thought it was wore out, but nonetheless, it doesn't look too bad. This Venturi should pop right out, just like that. Set that in there, and then we get the rest of this junk gasket out. So we want to get this little nozzle out here. It's just a little brass piece, I believe. Boy, I don't know about that. I'll get this one jet. We'll get this jet down here out. That one's clogged for sure. So I can't really hold the camera at the same time, but oh boy. Loosen it up, hopefully. Get a little bigger of a screwdriver. Yeah, this one's better. There it goes. All right, here's this little jet, and it is plugged. as you can see inside. Might be a little hard to see, but we'll clean that out. This will stay. We'll keep that in for now. Get this old gasket off here. What we'll do now is I'm going to get an impact and we're going to take the seat off. I'm going to worry about this little nozzle last, just because it could possibly be problematic. Alright, let's go ahead and take the seat off. Just like that. Comes off nice and easy. It is packed in there, so we'll have to clean that out for sure. I stick a little screwdriver in there, get you guys a little kind of a dose of what's in there. Kind of just the consistency of this is packed underneath the seat. That could have been another reason why it wasn't running right. Now we will take off this adjustment here. We'll make sure that we know which way it goes. So we're gonna go half, 1. So it's about 1 1/4. So we'll take this all the way out now. Just like that. Make sure we put in the right pin. And then we got a little plug here. I don't know if it'll come out. We shall see. If it doesn't, it's just like, there it goes. This is just a little passage plug, and it is a little dirty in there. So, all right, all we have left now is this, and I'm gonna talk with my grandpa and see what he thinks of what we should do. So I will be right back. All right, so we've made the executive decision to leave this on. I think if we try to take it off, we're gonna do more harm than foul, and plus I blew air, and this is free. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this whole thing up now, and we are gonna meet you guys back once I got everything clean, and we're going to assemble this thing. This isn't a full rebuild, this is kind of just a refresher. So I'm gonna get everything ready to go and meet you back here. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set the middle part there. We are going to go ahead and we are going to put this back together very slowly. This is going to go down, and you should hear it kind of lock in there, and I don't know why it is not. Okay, I see. Because I have to have the notch of the Venturi facing a certain way. Okay. So another mistake I made is you got to have the notch of the Venturi facing toward this indentation. That way it lines up with that little notch there, or that little, I don't know what you call that, but you want to kind of get it lined up. So that should work now. It should go together now, hopefully. Yep, I heard it go, and I can see that down in there we are together. So I'm going to start the bolts now with the new locks. Like so. That one started. All right, I'm going to tighten these down, and then I'll meet you back to tighten this down, and then we'll pretty much be close to ready to put this back on the tractor. All right, so the final part of this carburetor, aside from the drain, which I'm still looking for, is this bottom part. We'll set the gasket on like so. Then we will set this on like that. And I will start the bolts. I got a new one because there was one missing. So I'm going to tighten this up, and then once I'm done, I'll show you kind of the finished thing. And then I'm going to re-gasket this. I'll show you that too. But the carburetor is almost done, so that's a good thing. So I'm going to tighten this up now. Meet you back here when it's tightened up. All right, so minus a few details like our little fuel inlet, which I'm going to do real quick. So I'm going to clean this up, put it back on, re-gasket it, and then right now my dad has the two covers off. He's cleaning them. We're re-gasketing them. He's going to clean the surface off, and then we should be good to go. But right now it's easier to put those on and then put the carburetor on. So he's almost done. He's cleaning on the other side, so we'll be ready soon. All right, so we're going to be installing the carburetor back on to the tractor. We got our new gasket that goes for the intake here, so we're just going to set it there. Now we're going to want to make sure that our notch here lines up with this notch here. I got almost like there. Okay. So we got this lined up and tightened up. Not tightened, but it's good in there. Gasket's up in there, so we should be able to slide this up like so. Let me hold this here again. I'm gonna go ahead and get this bolt here started. Oh. There we go. All right, you can let go now. And then got our nut in the back. That's gonna probably be a pain, but we'll get it. There we go. All right, so the nut on the back is started. So now we got this here. This just is gonna go. I gotta put the cotter key back. That was in here. I took out this cotter key because it scratched the hell out of me and I wanted it out of the way. And put it back in. Now, this is going to slide back in. It should. All right, so we finally got this little triangular piece lined up here. Put some little screws back in now. And we'll tighten them up. And then all we really have left is to hook the fuel back up and the choke rods back up. We did re-gasket the inspection plates. All we have to do really left is do this. Fuel, that little thing there. We're gonna adjust the valve cover gasket from last time and then should be ready to start and run. All right, so hooked up the fuel. I'm gonna leave this off for now. Hooked up the choke cables, fixed the valve cover. We're gonna go ahead and start this thing now and take it outside and see how it runs. And then drain the water out. We're gonna permanently put our plug in for the radiator. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start this thing now after all the work we did. So give it a little bit of throttle. Our magneto is good for now. It's fully advanced. It should still start. Turn this on. Put a little gas in it. Gas looks a little dark, but it'll do. All right. Sure we're out of gear. Yep. All right. Let's go ahead and see if we can't get her started. I'll choke it one time and Alright, so we pulled it outside and we were pulling it with the machine and it still wasn't firing, so I think we figured out the whole problem here. When I last had this thing running, I pulled up on the advance and retard mechanism, so this engine's technically fully off. So go like that. Now, so we weren't getting spark at all up here, so then we checked for spark down here and we got good spark. This thing should fire right up now. Give it a little more throttle maybe.
Maybe you got it on idle.
Try that. this episode is complete. We got the W30 running good finally. Next step, like I said, we're going to clean it, we're going to paint it, and I'll give you guys a kind of a look at what it is when it's done painted. But the first one from the abandoned farmstead is up and running. It's running good. Obviously I need to do a few little cosmetic things and clean some stuff up, but the carburetor did the job. So thank you guys for watching. If you like videos like these, please consider subscribing to 3 Generations Restoration. We'll catch you next time. Thanks.